Good morning, Mark.
Good morning indeed, operator. I've noticed recently, your last devlog video has come out 6 months ago. Your channel's activity has died down.
Wait, what? It's been 6 months already? I better get to work then! What?
Hello everyone, AkarFire here, and I'm finally back to making videos. It's been, well, since the previous devlog, so let me get you back on track. It was the end of June. I've just finished my school graduation exams and was trying to get back to working on Xerox. I basically opened the project and tried playing it for a bit. There wasn't much to do in the game apart from running around and killing every machine you see, which could be fun, but there was something very annoying to me. It was the very place I was running around. I know, I have reworked the game world once, but I'm still not happy about it. As you can see, the current world is kinda big, but it is so boring. Because no matter where you go, you'll see big hole nothing. So, I guess it's time to throw it all away and rework the whole game world. Oh, this is gonna be a journey. Alright, the idea is to make the world actually memorizable and interesting to explore. To achieve that, we will gradually introduce the player to a bunch of different biomes, full of enemies and mysteries to uncover. For now, we're just going to work on the first biome, though there should be at least 3 of them when the game is finished, but we'll see about that. Okay, cool. Now we just need some concept, an idea of what we want to get. I thought about it for some time and decided to make the main theme of this biome water, because it just sounds cool. Yeah. The plan is to have 2 zones, a water forest and a swamp. So I quickly gathered some references to get the right mood and got to work. Basically, I wanted to get some really alien-looking water trees with flying bubbles everywhere. So the first thing I did were these weird-looking trees with membranes of water all around their leaves. They do look really strange, but that's exactly what I was going for. Then I modeled a few bushes and flowers in the same style and got to actually sketching out the forest area. I have also added these giant kinda normal looking trees to comprise the majority of the forest, and it worked out nicely. After that, it was finally time to move on to the swamp zone. We did all of the modeling for the zone on a stream, which really sped up my workflow as I just couldn't get distracted. If I wasn't streaming, this would probably take me like 2 days. So look here, we've got small water lilies, big water lilies, lotus flowers, and a really weird looking giant bubble tree. Isn't that nice? With all of the modeling done, I quickly sketched out the general look of the swamp. I've also added these flying bubble particles, and in the end, it all turned out to look rather cool. Somewhere around this time, we have also implemented swimming mechanic, creating animations for which totally didn't take longer than coding the thing itself. But it does look and feel nice. And it is definitely a nice addition to a biome based around water, you know? Alright, it's all cool of course, but it's still just a prototype. It should be time to make an actual world map out of it. So here it comes, my second greatest enemy, level design. Cause the problem is that I don't really know anything about proper level design. That is the reason why the previous maps failed in the first place. So now I just have to learn the damn thing. After watching some YouTube videos on the theme, which didn't really help much, and chatting with Sonic Mix in my Discord server, I decided to try doing it. The first attempt was on stream, and let's just say it didn't go very well. The whole thing just looked like a boring straight line, which totally wasn't cool. After that, I decided to give it another go, and ended up with something like this. At least it looks better than before. So, let's quickly talk about what I've learned while doing all of that. First, you need an idea. Designing a level without an idea is cringe and will probably result in something like this. Not very cool, huh? In my case, the idea was to have a forest with a few lakes and a river. Inside the forest there should be a swamp, which is just basically a bunch of small islands covered with foliage. And on the border between the 2 areas, we should have a giant ruin complex, somehow connected to 3 other ruin monuments, spread all over the biome. Second, while making a layout for your map, don't forget about the gameplay, cause the level you design should be fun to play in. My game's combat works best on somewhat flat and open surfaces, so I made sure to include such areas. Third is routing. Try to think through the routes where you're supposed to go and let your design guide him. For that you can use different landmarks, or pretty much anything which is high or glowing. But try not to overdo it, otherwise your level will just end up as a bunch of rails, which is totally not cool. And fourth is the feeling of exploration. Don't show the player everything right away, let him discover things on his own. This is the essence of the open world games after all. Alright, nice. Now let's talk about why this is still not enough and why I had to redo the whole thing once again. The main problem with the current design is that it is completely disconnected from the surrounding landscape, cause there is just nothing else here. In the real world, everything, no matter how big or small, is always a part of something even bigger, which is very noticeable. For example, you can't really imagine a river without a place that is flowing through. I'm not sure if this phenomenon has any real name, but I decided to call it global context, and it is the last, fifth principle of level design I've learned so far. Applying this new knowledge, I managed to deduce that to make a believable island biome, I need to first create an island. Who would have thought? I am not particularly good at sculpting realistic terrain features, so I decided to use procedural generation. After combining a few noise and Voronoi textures and Blender's geometry nodes, I managed to get this rather cool looking island. It seemed to suit my needs rather well, so I copied the whole setup into the shader editor and baked out a height map. Then, using this height map and the principles I described earlier, I have finally designed a level I was satisfied with. There are still things that need to be worked on here, but this is already something. As you can see, the area is naturally partitioned by some landmarks, but not in a way that limits the player's desire to explore. I will definitely need to implement some sort of a smart system to place enemies and generate right encounters, along with the pre-designed content, cause as an indie game developer, I gotta get as much playtime out of this area as possible. Also, I tried blending in some modeled rocks, kinda like it's done in Genshin Impact, and I'm relatively happy with how it turned out, but maybe I'll work on it more in the future. Okay, now let me give you a quick tour over the area we ended up with. First, as usual, we have our camp. Not very detailed, for now. East of it is our beloved spaceship and the seashore area, which is probably gonna be used for the tutorial part of the game. To the south, we have the entrance to the water forest. For now, I'm using these orange glowing trees as guides, but I'll most surely modify or replace them in the future. Next, we have this valley with the river in the center, and a few spots resorts with the ruins. Following that, we have the swamp area, which isn't terribly interesting right now, but it certainly does have some breathtaking views. Here in the distance, we have the prototype for the main ruin complex of the area. This is most certainly not its final form, as I have already decided to hand model it, rather than kit bashing the thing out of some old assets. After that, we have an area which I haven't really worked on yet. Yeah. And even further, we have a ton of space reserved for the future, which, in my case, is a great thing to have. Alright, this one was quite a journey. Creating this video took me way more time than it should have. But at least I figured out a new pipeline, so it shouldn't take me too long to make new videos from now on. At least I hope so. As you can see, I've also spent some time and modeled an avatar. I haven't fully moved into this virtual space yet, so there is quite a bunch of stuff missing, but I will fix that someday. You might be wondering what's coming next and, most importantly, when. So I originally planned on reworking the cell shader and redesigning the characters, But now I understand that the gameplay should come first, and the enemy's navigation system is kinda broken right now, and that's honestly a pretty important part of the gameplay. And I think we're going to start by fixing it. I am going to be streaming here on this channel from time to time, so you can come and join me here. But until then, subscribe not to miss something cool, and I will see you next time. Cheers!